Vehicular emissions are a major source of air pollution in most urban areas. Higher the number of motorized vehicles, greater are the emissions. In the region of PMRDA, which constitutes the cities of Pune and Pimpri-Chinchwad, along with the Khadki, Dehu and Pune cantonments, the population exceeds 75 lakhs and is expected to reach 95 lakhs by 2028. There are over 50 lakh registered vehicles and 1,000 get added daily. Can you imagine the amount of pollutants being added to the air every day? The emission inventory of 2020 by IITM reports that 46% of the PM 2.5 emissions were from the transport sector alone. PM or particulate matter is suspended matter in the air, solid particles made up of dust, soot, dirt, smoke, and other liquid droplets. It comes in varying sizes and is measured in microns. 2.5 is the width of the particle, which is almost 20 times smaller than the width of a human hair. Owing to its size, it can penetrate into our lungs and also enter our bloodstream, thus causing damage to various organs. Particulate pollution has also been proven to be a carrier of viruses and bacteria, causing different diseases like COVID, flus, and other contagious disorders. Therefore, emission sources like vehicles, industries, open biomass burning, which involve combustion, are more toxic as compared to dust because they produce PM 2.5 and even smaller sized PM, along with other pollutants like sulfur oxides, nitrogen oxides, carbon monoxide, and ozone. There is a growing demand for mobility as the city grows. Population rises and economic activities increase, and people need to move from one place to another for their livelihoods, education, access to services, and leisure. Parallelly, there is increasing pollution and congestion. Let's see what traffic experts have to say about this.
So the real solution to this is to actually reduce the number of personal vehicles which are plying on the roads. And this can be only done by a very good public transport system, which is safe, which is reliable, and which is useful for people to use instead of their personal vehicles. Unfortunately, there is a trend these days that cities, instead of looking at this option, are very quickly going into the wrong direction, which is actually widening the roads, building flyovers, whenever there is a possibility of congestion or future congestion. And this is actually not a solution, as we have seen from experience in many cities who have now abandoned this path because they are a failed solution. The long-term solution is the improvement in public transport, which becomes attractive for majority of people to use.
When roads are built, there is invariably negative impact on the environment. Trees are cut, compensatory plantation does not always work. Whenever there is pavement, tarring, concretization, that leads to reduction in the percolation of rainwater, that leads to more dust, that leads to increase in the PM10 pollutants in the air. So all these things are interlinked, and let's face it, more and more roads implies more and more pollution. Roads that are built on our natural heritage like hills, riverside, digging tunnels in the tekdi that we have, all building roads on the hill slopes, they must be avoided at any cost, because this is natural heritage, and once damaged, you just cannot restore it. The damage will be permanent. With proper vision and proper planning, such projects can be avoided. Other solutions are possible. We must think in that direction.
So the cities need to adopt principle of avoid, shift and improve. In avoid, the cities should promote mixed land use where people can walk to the work, students can go to the school by walking or cycling, they can access the recreational areas and commercial areas by walk or cycle. Also, the big companies and even small companies can promote work from home culture so that people can work from home, and COVID pandemic has shown us that this is possible and many trips can be avoided altogether. Shift refers to the shifting from private modes of vehicles to the public transport or walk or cycle, that is sustainable mobility. This can be achieved through various measures such as congestion charging, parking management, high fuel cess, then completely capping the growth of private motorized vehicles. Also, urban local bodies need to manage on-street parking so that in the neighborhood area, people are not encouraged to use their private vehicle for accessing neighborhood shops or other areas, and they have to pay high parking fees if they want to do so. So this will also promote people from shifting from private motorized vehicles, especially two-wheelers, to walk or cycle. Improve refers to adopting latest emission norms such as BS6. The government of India has adopted it, and that is great. And also the biofuel policy will also help to reduce the emissions from the urban areas.
With the government's EV policy and large investments happening in the sector, it is expected to have some impact on the emissions in urban areas. In Maharashtra, the government has allocated 80% of the funds received for improvement of air quality from the 15 Finance Commission towards getting electric buses for the Pune and Pimpri Chinchwad area. While the shift to electric vehicles is welcome, the growing number of vehicles pose other challenges to the city like congestion, demand for more roads, and other environmental impacts. How do we then view electrification of mobility in the larger prospect of a sustainable, livable city?
So it's a no-brainer that at city level, the road planning, etc., has to prioritize walking, cycling, and public transport. For public transport, we must have vehicles which are fueled by clean energy. But it is also unrealistic to expect that there will be no private vehicles at all. So we have to work on two fronts. One is create a system which will minimize private vehicles coming on the roads within the city, and also create a system which will push the private vehicle owners to go towards electric mobility. But for charging those electric vehicles, we must create renewable energy fueled infrastructure, both for private as well as public charging. So that has to be the overall strategy. Indian government has committed internationally to go on increasing the share of renewable energy in electricity generation over the next few years. So when we continue to use petroleum fueled vehicles, we are sort of locked into a mobility choice which is polluting as well as bad for climate. When we shift to electric vehicles, we are reducing pollution and we are opening up the possibility that eventually our mobility choice will be driven by renewable energy. But as citizens, we must keep up the pressure on the government to keep up and to fulfill its commitment to go on increasing renewable energy component in electricity generation.
Currently, the policies seem to emphasize on more and more infrastructural investments for wider roads and flyovers, catering to the needs of private vehicles, which in turn lead to more congestion and more emissions. It also makes the city less friendly for walking and cycling. Pune, once known as the city for cycles, not surprisingly has seen a dip in both these modes. Even school children who once happily cycled to school now are seen using motorized transport. Looking ahead, developing a robust, affordable, and efficient public transport would go a long way in curbing pollution and improving air quality. Making cycling and walking safe and enjoyable by providing clean, properly demarcated, and tree-shaded footpaths and cycling tracks, many citizens would shift to these modes, contributing in a big way to reducing air pollution and promoting healthier lifestyles.